Michelle Joy Phelps with BehindTheGloves.com, and I am here with none other than Eddie Hearn here in London. You like that intro?
I loved it. Michelle Phelps, wow.
Finally, we meet.
Unbelievable.
All this Twitter banter, and finally, I see you in person.
It's wonderful to see you. I hope you have a fantastic time in London.
I love London. You know what? This is such a big fight. How does it feel to be the person to have put this fight on? Surely it's a...
Yeah, it feels great, but you know, until we're there, I mean, we've got a lot of logistics, a lot of administration gone into this fight to make it happen. Obviously, this week, tons and tons of promotional activity. We're here today for the public workout of James DeGale, Anthony Joshua, Kevin Mitchell, and George Groves. We did Carl Froch yesterday and Jamie McDonnell. So, undercard press conference tomorrow, the other press conference on Thursday, the weigh-in on Friday. So, still a long way to go. I think until we're there in the centre circle at the National Stadium, with a 22-foot ring looking around us with 80,000 people, that's when it will really hit home. And, you know, I'm just focused on putting on a great show for the fans and making sure everyone gets value for money.
How difficult was it to bring this whole card together?
It was difficult. You know, you're dealing with, mainly with Froch Groves, you're dealing with egos. They don't like each other, so no one wants to give an inch. You know, but ultimately this was a fight that makes so much money. This is a fight that there was so much demand from the public and the broadcasters. It had to happen. So perseverance paid off, and you know, we got it made.
Was this initially a fight that you already, after the first fight, that you thought that deserved a rematch, or do you feel like it was just much after a lot of protests from Groves that you decided to go in and do the rematch?
You know, fights are made out of demand. So demand from fans, demand from broadcast. There was so much demand for this fight, we had to make it happen. So, but basically, do I think he deserved the rematch? Yeah, I think the fight was stopped too early. I think he would have been knocked out in a further 10, 15, 30 seconds. But he fought a great fight. Groves proved that he's at that level. And that was the thing going into the first fight. He didn't have the credibility. Now he's got the credibility. We've got the controversy, you know, and we've got the animosity. This fight's got all the ingredients for a huge super fight. And you know, people talk about, oh, not a lot of people in America know about this fight. There's a world outside of America, you know. Like, this fight's doing huge numbers here. Obviously, we're on HBO in America. Thank you, HBO. But, you know, ultimately, there is another world outside. And when you see Saturday night, you'll realise, wow, because there's nothing like this in America. You know, like, don't get me wrong, pay-per-view numbers, gates at the MGM, but for pure numbers and passion, you're going to see something else on Saturday night.
It seems like, and I love this about Froch and Groves, I love the animosity because I feel like that's what sells tickets. People want to see enemies. I feel like maybe I'm stepping out of my line by saying this, but I feel like it's gone a bit soft. People they have too much respect for one another, and I feel like the fight fans want to see this brawl, and you know.
For me, as a promoter, you've got to respect the code of the game. These guys are role models as well to the youth coming through. So it can't just be...
You can't just throw chairs at each other, right? Damn.
I mean, you know, I know that's what you want to see, but on the other side...
We've seen it with Hay and...
Yeah, but that's not good for the game. It sells, but there's a limit. So you've got to respect one another, because for me, we're trying to grow boxing as a sport in the country. So it's not just about... but the thing is with Froch Groves, you can get any two fighters butting heads going, yeah. But it's about credibility. This is a great fight because they're two great fighters. You know, you could have, you know, there's a saying in England, two donkeys make a great race. And that's the same in boxing. Sometimes it's about levels. If it's a 50-50 fight, it's a good fight, you know. But ultimately, there's got to be the rivalry, there's got to be the hype, but you've got to respect the game, in my opinion, you know.
So what did you think about Froch shoving Groves at the media?
That's okay, that's borderline, you know. It's like, you're in my face.
Where did that come from? Like,
because he's just in his ear, you know, and he just said, get out of my face, you know. But all of a sudden, I mean, I didn't really think that was too major. But like the next day, every back page of the fight, wow, he's pushing.
It's because they don't do that anymore. That's what we need. We need a campaign for the chair throwing and the shoving.
This is boxing, not WWE wrestling. But you know, as a promoter, I want what sells, of course. But I do feel as though we've got a responsibility to grow the game in the right way as well. And maybe people might think that sounds boring. That's just how I feel. But as a promoter, when there is the rivalry, oh, it's fantastic. So easy. You know, it's like, carry on, you two, right? You know, I would never say to a fighter, you know, put your head on his or give him a push, because when it's fake, it's just, that doesn't feel right or look right. And people can pick that up, you know. But again, with these guys, I mean, you're going to see some great stuff on Thursday and Friday, and it's what sells. It's what sells.
Well, look, This fight's selling. It's sold. And I'm really excited for this. So thank you for taking the time out. Eddie, you got a Twitter. How about giving your fans a shout out with your Twitter so that way they can follow you?
At Eddie Hearn. And I'll put a tweet out as well to follow Behind the Gloves, Michelle Phelps. And your man, okay, did you bring him over from America?
No, he's from
No? Are you? All right. You just got a gig. You know, did you bump into him just randomly?
No.
And said, do you want to carry the camera for me today or something like that? You know. All right.
He's a fantastic writer.
Is he? He's also a fantastic camera holder. He hasn't twitched. He's not even balancing on it. When Kugan Cassius does an interview, it's like shaking because obviously he's been out on the meths the night before. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm only joking.
The Holiday Inn.
I'd just like to, you know, make this aware that I was joking. Holiday Inn.
That's what I'm saying.
He's getting too big for his boots. I just signed him a big sponsorship deal, so he's getting a bit big for his boots.
What about my sponsorship deal?
All right, we'll work on that as well. There's plenty to go around.
Okay. All right, bye, fight fans.